Welcome, everyone. Let's dive deep into the incredible tale of a resilient community, the founding of Holland, Michigan.
I'm excited. So, we're talking about how a group of Dutch settlers, led by Reverend Van Raalte, really carved out a life in a new world.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's like, imagine leaving everything behind in search of religious freedom and economic opportunity, right?
Absolutely. It's almost like they were in pursuit of a dream, leaving a homeland where they felt constrained.
So, these settlers were mostly from Gelderland, part of the secessionist movement within their church, and faced significant challenges right from the start.
Right. And they set out on a perilous journey across the Atlantic, landing in New York first before venturing westward. That's a pretty wild trek, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. It sure is. And get this, they initially planned to settle in Wisconsin, but then they got the tip that western Michigan had land that was more suitable for their goals.
So, they rerouted to Michigan. Sounds like an early version of a GPS recalculating moment, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like they suddenly found the recalculated path to a promising future by Black Lake, which we now call Lake Makatawa.
That lake must have been a beacon of hope amid dense forests and swampy challenges.
Yeah. And speaking of challenges, the land was pretty unforgiving, clearing dense forests, draining swamps, and building homes in such harsh conditions. That's no joke.
Right. It's almost hard to imagine, like manually cutting down trees and building a community from scratch. It must have taken an immense amount of grit.
Definitely. And the community's backbone was their faith. They prioritized constructing a church even before everything else.
Yeah, I like that commitment. Isn't it fascinating how they intertwined their spiritual lives with the process of settling new lands? It's as if faith was their guiding star.
Absolutely. It was central. Not only that, they built schools too, which shows a long-term vision in nurturing the next generation.
Right on.
And let's not forget, while their determination was at an all-time high, the environment was downright brutal. Harsh winters, diseases like malaria, really testing their resilience.
Yeah, facing diseases and punishing winters. It's like nature itself was saying, you better be tough.
Exactly. And there's a real parallel here. It's like they were building a dream amid a graveyard of challenges.
Right. But is it fair to say their perseverance changed the course of the whole region? It looked like they were the seed for a thriving future.
Absolutely, because soon enough, more Dutch immigrants arrived, bolstering the community and defining a whole cultural identity for Holland.
Yeah, I can see that.
And speaking of identity, even today, Holland, Michigan, proudly showcases its Dutch heritage. Think about the annual Tulip Time Festival and architecture that really hints at that story of perseverance.
That's so cool. It's almost like the city carries forward the spirit and traditions from the 1840s to modern times, isn't it?
Indeed. Right. And what's really interesting is how Reverend Van Raalte managed to secure financial support from benefactors both in the Netherlands and America. This not only helped the initial settlement, but laid the foundation for diverse industries.
Industries too? So it wasn't just like a cultural outpost, but also an economic hub in the making?
Precisely. The early industries included lumber, agriculture, and manufacturing, which contributed significantly to the region's economic growth.
I like that momentum. I have to wonder, though, while the benefits sound clear, wasn't there any critique of the way they prioritized faith and community over, say, environmental considerations?
That's an interesting point. I mean, they were battling nature head-on. And while environmental stewardship wasn't quite a concept back then, it's clear their methods were born of necessity rather than environmental disregard.
I see your point.
Right. Their determination in overcoming the environmental hurdles speaks solely of their survival instinct, not a lack of care. It was survival first and then culture.
True enough. And as time passed, each challenge they conquered laid down yet another brick in Holland's enduring legacy.
Exactly. And isn't it fascinating how a small group of settlers, with their faith and determination, ended up shaping modern-day Holland into this vibrant city with deep-rooted traditions?
Indeed. It brings to mind how communities can really be defined by the hardships they overcome together, almost like each struggle was a thread woven into the fabric of the city's identity.
Definitely. It's like every cleared tree, every drained swamp, and every church stone laid symbolized a step toward a brighter
absolutely.
future. Now, I find it particularly remarkable that despite facing diseases, malaria, and the brutal winters, this group persisted. It really highlights not just physical endurance, but determination of spirit.
Exactly. And if you think about it, this story is also a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, innovation and community can flourish.
Right. And you know what? It's like they reinvented the idea of starting over completely, building from scratch in an unknown land.
Certainly, that's a powerful message. That brings another angle to light: leadership. Reverend Van Raalte wasn't just a religious figure. He was a visionary who united people and forged a path toward a legacy that endures even today.
Exactly. His role in securing funding and establishing the initial institutions set a precedent for future generations. And that's something every leader can learn from.
True that.
Now, a quick thought here. While his leadership was pivotal, some might respectfully challenge whether a single charismatic leader could truly sustain a community's evolution. What do you think?
Well, leadership can sometimes create a dependency, but in this case, it seems the community thrived by building robust institutions, like schools and industries, that outlast even a single leader's tenure.
Right, exactly. Right on. And today, Holland, Michigan, stands as a testimony to that enduring spirit, a blend of historic struggles, cultural pride, and continual growth.
It's kind of poetic, isn't it? The way a community, forged in adversity, goes on to celebrate its heritage vigorously, especially through something as joyful as the Tulip Time Festival.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like every tulip that blooms is a nod to those early settlers, a reminder of their hard work and vision.
Right, it's a living legacy. And you know, the whole journey from the Netherlands to Michigan reflects not just a physical crossing, but a deep transformation, culturally, economically, and spiritually.
Exactly. A transformation that resonates even now as people celebrate a unique identity carved out of persistence, faith, and
really
hard
inspiring.
work. So here's to the spirit of those early settlers, a reminder that no matter how rough the journey, determination can truly shape the future.
Absolutely. Here's to that spirit.